absolutely vital for our city. I'll tell you why. Because those investments in transport, not only and housing, create and regeneration will, and you can look at all the figures, they will create, taken together, 200,000 jobs for London over the next 4 years. It's absolutely vital that we maintain that pattern of investment. And it's not only the jobs that they will create in the short term, these investments will build the platform for future growth and prosperity for the city. And it's precisely because we've been running London responsibly and being careful with the budgets that we have that we are being rewarded by the Treasury, and I have absolutely no doubt that I can get the best possible deal from the Treasury for London over the next 4 years. And above all, because I want to conclude now and give you some time to ask questions, I don't want to see this city lurch back. I don't want to see this city go back to what I'm afraid I must call the arrogance and the waste and the broken promises of the previous administration. My ambition is very simple. I want to lead London out of recession and help London to lead the world and to lead this country out of recession. I want us to lengthen our lead as the greatest city on earth, get a good deal from the Olympic Games, make sure we get value from the Olympics, and a proper return on that 9.3 billion. And the choice I put to you finally is a very, very clear one, and it's between going forward and going backwards. And I have to ask you whether you want to go forward with a sensible, cost-effective administration in City Hall that has regard to the budgets that we have and taxpayer value, or going back to a bunch of semi-reformed Marxists who think that, and baby bus fetishists, and taxpayer-funded Chateau Neuf du Pape swilling believers in the doctrines of Bolivarian revolutionary socialism, who think that it's a good idea to spend £37,000 of taxpayers' money on first-class tickets to go and see Fidel Castro. That's the alternative. Do you want to go forward with an administration that believes in investing in London, investing in our city's future, or do you want to go backwards to an administration that would put that investment at risk for short-term, for reasons of short-term political opportunism? Do you want to, finally, do you want to go forward with a mayor who believes in uniting this city, bringing London together, or do you want to go back to a mayor who basically thinks it's a good idea to play one group off against another for obscure reasons of cynical psychological calculation? That is the choice. Do you want a mayor who takes London forward or backwards? I want to take this city forward over the next 4 years. I very much hope that I can count on your support. Thank you very much.
Well, we have some questions here which have been handed up to the desk, and we'll go through these, but they're really, we should use them as hooks for further audience participation. It would also be helpful if people were to mention who they are as well. I think it would just make the meeting all the more meaningful. So the first question I'd like to ask is one close to your heart, is to do with cycling.
Yes.
Good morning, Mayor, as it says, the question starts. As one of thousands of London Jewish cyclists who commute by bike to work, I would like to ask why, despite proposals for 12 cycling superhighways, not one enters Barnet. In fact, number 12 has been diverted from starting at East Finchley Station, the area of the most cycling and the biggest concentration of bike parking in the borough, to now starting in Muswell Hill. If you're elected, how do you plan to ensure that Barnet becomes a cycle-friendly borough, reflecting the needs and wants of its residents?
I'm determined to continue the policy of expansion of the cycle superhighways. They're extremely popular. People deride them as bits of blue paint on the road. Actually, they hugely expand the numbers of cyclists on those roads. They increase people's sense of safety. We're going to go forward with that scheme. I'm given to understand that there are certain recusant spirits in Barnet well, I won't name them. All I can say is they will not be allowed to stand in the path of the wheels of progress. Both wheels of progress.
I have another question here. if anyone wants to come back on that one, please. Okay, also transport-related one. As a student, I find we need to save money wherever we can. But if there was one thing that eats up my student loan, it's transport. How and will you reduce the fares for students in London?
What we are doing is, obviously the best thing you can do is continue to be honest about numbers, about fares policy. What I'm not going to do is make crazy promises which I then have to break, as the previous mayor did, not once but twice, because what happens is that people get in, they find that they've invited the electorate to, when I say people I mean one particular person, they find that they've invited the electorate to vote for them on one platform of cutting or freezing fares, and lo and behold, it turns out that actually they've got a creaking, antiquated transport system that needs investment. And so they say, oh, I'm terribly sorry. Where I said, that bit where I said I promise I'm going to keep fares down or cut fares, actually, it turns out we've got to put them up. Even if the previous mayor, even if Ken Livingstone were to keep his promise in the, say, for a year or so, there would then be a very jagged spike as he was obliged in 2 or 3 years down the track to rectify the deficiency in TfL's budgets. And you can see this happening over the history of fares in London. That basically, you see the sort of Livingstone spike. And it's happened time after time. I don't want to do that. I'll have an honest, sustainable approach. Bus fares, I'm going to make sure that we keep low, and it is my ambition to keep them low or as low in real terms as they were in 2000. And the way to hold down tube fares, is, of course, to continue to take out costs. Did you hear what I said? Everybody was looking a bit sort of blank when I talked about automatic train control. Do you know what that means, my friends? Do you understand the implication of that? It is very, very important for the future of our city. What we are talking about is our steps that will do in London what they've already done in the Paris metro, what they're doing in Singapore. It's completely wrong that London should be left behind by these other competitor economies when we have the technology to do it. That is how to take out costs. I will hold fares down in an honest and sustainable way. Students in full-time education under 18 will continue to receive cut price, will continue to defend ruthlessly. In fact, we will restore the full value of the 24-hour freedom pass, because some of you may know that it has been put on an age escalator by the cruel Labour government, as was. What they decided to do was to raise it so that you no longer got it at 60, but you started to get it at 60 and a half and then 61 and so on. We will restore the 24-hour freedom pass for everybody over 60, male or female. That will come in as soon as is practical. Eddie, I think we can do it from the 1st of September. And just to get back to my point about young people in search of work, we think that we can also affordably now give registered apprentices, people who are on one of the thousands of apprenticeship schemes across London now, we can give them the same cut price travel as we give to students in full-time education. I think that will be valuable, that will help them to get into work and to stay in work.
Thanks very much. Does anyone have another question on transport? Just on transport? No, Dan. Sorry? Dan? No, your question's not on transport. Is this on transport, Jonathan?
It's on
air quality.
Jonathan, no, airports.
Airports.
The fact is, if you look at the fast-growing countries in the world, I mean, China, where they're bemoaning the fact that growth rate has just dropped to 8%, the fact is that London has many fewer flights to cities in China than Frankfurt or Paris, for example. Can you tell us what your plans are to increase airport capacity in London?
Well, thank you, Jonathan, and thank you for all the work you do for us. I should stress that the mayor has no sovereignty over our airports outside the Greater London area. Indeed, I have very little sovereignty over Heathrow. Unfortunately, I would like it. There is no threat to Heathrow. Heathrow is a very important international airport. It will continue to have a great future, but it's operating at it's operating 99% capacity at the moment. Croydon is a very lovely place, and I'm about to go there to give another speech, but most of us spend far too much time orbiting over Croydon, don't we, before landing at Heathrow. And what is the point you make about the shortage